Welcome back to another Brew Spy, the Magic Guy. I'm your host, Sean, and tonight we're going to be playing some Esper Shadow. I hope you guys are ready for the Shadow train to leave the station. Let's get into it. I already have the league set up for us. And so why play not Grixis Shadow, right? Like, why are we going to shoot ourselves in the foot? I actually do own most of the cards in paper. If I wanted to play Grixis Shadow, it's an option. Why be different? Why play something different, right? Well, I think there's some real reasons to be in Esper Shadow. Granted, one of them is less so now that Clan Ironworks just got banned. However, there's still plenty of archetypes where Stony Silence is so very powerful. This hand's a little awkward with double Angler, but it's got 2 lands and a Street Wraith and a Shadow. I'll keep it. But how are you guys doing this weekend? Hope you guys are doing well. Orzhov Charm is one of the big reasons to be in that color. Speaking of which, this could be Grixis over on the other side. So yeah, I mean, like, reasons to be white, obviously you get Stony. Path is Path. Lingering Souls is Lingering Souls. What's up, Burning? And by Burning, I mean Andrew. How's it going, Drew? Let's get a look at I'm assuming we're up against Grixis Shadow. So speaking of which, alright, so we probably just take the stub. What did he do with his serum? I didn't want it to do that. I just wanted to see the game log. He topped. Okay. Yeah, I saw that you streamed today. You were telling me. That's awesome, Andrew. I hope it went well. I wasn't able to watch the whole thing today because I had other things going on, but good start, I imagine. Still no threat from the opponent. We could drop Shadow here. It would only be a 2/2. But he didn't actually have removal for it at the time. Something to think about. And as Esper Shadow, we really should be not haphazard. We actually already have a white source here, so I think I'm just going to go Watery Grave. That's definitely our primary colors. And if we can get the Stubborn Denial into the graveyard, then we're looking at Delirium on this Whispers. Or maybe he drew a Bolt. Okay. Kind of tempted to deny this. There's not like a lot of targets for it in this matchup. Also might not hit. That gives us Delirium for next turn, so I can go Whispers into another play. I'm assuming this is a Delve threat for him. Yeah, it looked like you're having a good time in there, Andrew. That's what it's really all about. Alright, so a Delve threat of his own. He might be holding up a counterspell here. Very, very possible. So we get a Shadow and a Battle Rage out of that exchange. That's pretty awesome. Now we're at 9. So the Shadow actually isn't big enough to contend with the Angler. So we could trade an Angler for an Angler. Or we could just drop Shadow. If we drop Shadow, we're not blocking, obviously. But with the shadow in play, we don't really mind going that low, should he attack. Thought scoured over a Snapcaster, hit a Street Wraith, cycles the Street Wraith, hits a Bauble. Okay. Decides not to attack. Fair enough. Wants to see my draw. It's a Snap Dap Caster. Snap isn't all that great here. Probably what we'll do is we'll Gurmag, leaving Shadow and Denial. The reason we want to leave Shadow is because we have reanimation effects. Reason to leave Denial is because of Snapcaster in my hand. Opponent gets to look at 2 new cards. One of them was a land. Well, that's good news. Now, how relevant was the Delirium spell this game? It was actually pretty relevant. So if we go for the path, he has to have Denial here. Not even Snapcaster would protect him from that. And then we can smash with both, and he's dead. So in this matchup, Path is very good because it hits both the Delve threats and anything else we're up against. Mischief is fun, but it may not be what we want to do. Honestly, I think our main deck setup is quite good for this matchup. I don't think I really want to change much. Maybe to the Slaughter just as another piece of removal that also hits their sideboard Lilianas. And then what's on the weak side? Counter Squall is really heavy. The Tutors might be weak after board. He might be on the Leyline build. And of course, you know, Slaughter Pack's not going to work here because they're all black threats. So we might want less secrets or none, just because there's a real potential that the opponent's on the a lot of the Grixis shadow lists lately. You'll notice 3 or more Leyline of the Void. We can definitely bring in our Spell Bomb though. I don't think I would run our so yeah, just like some of the things that are a little weak in the matchup. It's really not about counter magic and secrets. Probably not. If anything, I'd be down for Mischief because then we can redirect his removal on our shadows to his shadows. Or you can even redirect a hand hate spell. This is also fun against like your Juns, etc. Like Whispers even, like even these Delirium spells, sure they're weaker if the graveyard is shot, but if the graveyard's shot then these don't work at all. We might still run some number of Denial. Explosives is kind of hit or miss. The problem with Explosives is what if we have some shadows in play, right? So you need to be careful about this card. But I think I still play it in the matchup. And like the same could be said for Snapcaster, right? If our graveyard is turned off, like how good is Snapcaster? At least it's a body. So maybe we run 2 Stubborns. I think I still prefer Stubborn over a lot of these other options. I mean, Languish is a thing. The problem is in this matchup, so the reason we went with Languish instead of Damnation in our sideboard is because it doesn't kill shadows that are 5 or more toughness, and it doesn't kill Tazagur or Gurmag Angler, which are still over here. Ooh, Profane probably could go. Don't think I want Profane, especially if we're thinking we're going to lose our graveyard. One of the most important modes on this guy is being able to return shadows. At least Orzhov Charm can still kill something. So let's actually still play the Denials. They're mana efficient. You really can't go wrong with that card. Arguably, we should have a 4th in the 75, but I gave up that spot for more tutor targets. We'll keep. Lingering Souls is pretty solid in this matchup. Gives us a lot of chump blocks, and you know the type of removal that Shadow employs doesn't really deal with it very well. So if we can make the game long enough for that. So we're already at a nice 14. No shadow in sight, though. Now, since we have Orzhov Charm and he didn't have Leyline, it could be as simple as we Thought Scour into a shadow, and then we actually reanimate it. Just kind of cool, not not something that you normally see Shadow able to do. He did use it on us, right? Yeah, but we're gonna mill whatever he saw because we are Thought Scouring ourselves most likely. I thought about bringing in the where is it? The Presence to hit like specifically something like a Steam Vents, but I think that's relatively weak. It's fine. You can have that. I actually am shuffling the deck we're playing right now in my hands. It's almost card for card. The same. I need to borrow or buy a Surgical on site, which may be awkward to do. But it's just Surgical is such an important tutor target, even if you only have one in the 75 of the Mausoleum Secret style of Shadow. So he takes the Orzhov Charm. Casts Faithless Looting. I know I'm being a little aggressive with those. See if I hit a land. Did not. I mean, I did hit a land. It just hit the graveyard. That's all. Looks like could be. Yep. Now, we could deploy a Gurmag of our own. That seems a little bit weak to me. Shadow Angler. So he doesn't have the ability to get the shadows in play, but neither does he have the ability to get the Angler in play for a while. So this is kind of one of those, which one do you go after kind of situations. His opponent would have to put himself, he'd have to lose 3 life points. So any fetch would do it. Let's take a shadow. But there's merit to taking the other Angler, just because since we're putting a card in the graveyard, there's merit to taking the Angler. Because now I'm kind of leading us down the path of we'll have to play our own Angler just to block their Angler. Or he just takes my Angler. If we never find our way to another land, we died anyway, so. Definitely a reason why maybe my play to stub the draw spell was greedy. Okay, there we go. So, does that really do enough? Like, we kind of need to find another land regardless. Granted, we have a snap block here, but I mean, that's not a long-term solution. So now he can start deploying his shadows. But we took game 1, so we have a game to give. We kind of didn't get off the ground. Like, if you're playing Shadow and you miss some lane... Hey, thanks for the belated birthday wishes, Priest of Gix. I'm hoping Lil Coron shows up, because I forgot to open a chest for him, and he subbed. I feel bad for that. Yeah, I don't see us winning this if he's deploying another Gurmag. That's okay. We won game 1, so let's see if we can't win game 3. I still like our configuration. I don't think I changed a thing. So let's run it back. We'll get there this time, I think. Just, what was our opener? Our opener was a 1-lander, which is a little greedy. Oh, Priest of Gix with the Twitch Prime sub. Thank you so much for that sub. Let me open a chest for you. I'm not gonna open the chest for Nick until he's actually here. He'll be here. He's pretty regular. Ooh, speaking of Imp's Mischief, weird. This pack had double rare and some points. Thank you very much, a Priest of Gix. Your support's very much appreciated. So we opened one of the janky cards that are in my sideboard, Imp's Mischief. Change the target of target spell with a single target. You lose life equal to the spell's converted mana cost, which in the case of Ancestral is 0. True Conviction. This is an EDH card, right? 6-pack abs. Creatures you control have double strike and lifelink for 6 mana. And some play points. Thank you. Thank you for the support, Priest of Gix. I really appreciate that. This is a 1-lander with a bauble. Still tempting, isn't it? Now against Thoughtseize opponents, which we are up against this a Thoughtseize Inquisition deck, I don't tend to want to. What's up, Puddin' Stars? I don't tend to like to activate Bauble on my own turns, so we'll activate it here just to make sure that we're gonna see another land, hopefully. And if we don't see land on the Bauble, so many baubles. But if we don't see another land, obviously we'll want to fetch. So there's a polluted delta. We'll take that. So we can put ourselves to 14 with 2 fetches. I'm fine doing some little fun tricks with this bauble. We're looking for a third land since we have Lingering Souls and Snapcaster Mage. Third land, especially if it's a fetch, also lets us play the shadows, because that would be puts us to 11 if it's another fetch land. That's fine. Our hand's pretty good. But how are you guys doing? Hope you guys had a good weekend. So it takes the explosives, interestingly enough. Must have a shadow heavy hand. It's very possible that's what they've got going on over there. Holy Street Wraith Batman. Into a shadow. Bauble on myself. It is an island. We will take it. I don't want to really draw more land than that, so we're actually going to thin now. And because we have Lily in, we want white source, but also second black source, so we want Godless Shrine. So there's a path we can remove the shadow now. I don't get to do anything else, though, if that's my line. I think I just want to play this Lingering Souls. Especially since we have 1 white source and double white card. Even if he takes the path here with the Inquisition, unless he has a counterspell to back this up, we get to snap path the shadow. Takes the Snapcaster Mage. So since he has a fetch, if he does have Battle Rage, we're dead, unfortunately. So I like a singular block, because if he has Battle Rage, he wins anyway. Okay, so he doesn't have it. It's okay, we've got Snap next turn. He didn't have the Battle Rage last turn, so maybe he doesn't have it again. Battle Rage is something that sometimes just comes out of the sideboard. Opponent goes to 4. So unless he spikes Battle Rage here, we're still good. And it may be something that he sideboards out a little bit. So again, we're still, dead if there's a Battle Rage here, so we hope there isn't. I told you Lingering Soul is very good in this matchup. You're seeing a little bit of that. We got there. So is Grixis Shadow better than Esper Shadow? Yes. And the reason is it's just had a lot more testing. There are real reasons to take on the red splash. But I think Esper Shadow has some teeth. And I think, hopefully I demonstrated that to you guys there. But in fairness, I also play a lot of Modern and I play a lot of Shadow. So it may not have been necessarily how the decks lined up. It might have been the fact that he was playing against BrewSpytheMagicGuy. I don't know. Like when I think about it, we played a lot of Magic over the years together, haven't we, guys? So I actually have a lot more reps than I guess I even take credit for or even think about or realize. So, and Magic is a variance game. Maybe he just drew a lot of lands. One of the games we played, I think he drew at least one more land than we had. That was game 1. Yeah. I think Esper Shadow has some real teeth. I think Path is a real reason. I think Orzhov Charm is the major reason, right? I'm being facetious, Andrew. Being facetious. But in fairness, Andrew, you haven't been here. We've been doing this for over 4 years. We've been streaming like this over 4 years now. So I don't even think about all the years that we've spent playing Modern having an effect on my play. Granted, I don't play like the pros. This isn't how I make my this isn't my main source of livelihood. So I wouldn't guess that I play more than they do, obviously, but we'll keep this one. Bottom that. If you haven't been here, though, for part of those 4 years, Andrew, you definitely would think I'm being conceited or egotistical there. But no, I'm just saying it how it is. Like a lot of players will say, oops, it's not what I wanted to take. I wanted to move the thing over. Out of all the cards you could have taken there, I guess that's not the worst to take. I think, though, I would have rather taken the Archdruid, but that's okay. You were messing with me too? You need to learn the art of the Kappa, my friend. You've never been in my chat? Rarely been in my chat before. How am I supposed to know? How am I supposed to know, my friend? Alright, so what's he played so far? He's played Marsh, Sentinel, Marsh. I haven't seen Elves in a good while. I'm excited. I am excited. I have not seen Elves in some time. Bauble. Okay, so that doesn't really do what we need it to do. This Denial has one card on it, right? Well, it might also hit a chord, but we're hoping to hit like a company with that eventually, right? We could Bauble now. He's probably not going to be running any hand hate. Ooh, Heritage Druid? That's not good. That's a really solid top deck for our opponent. It is their engine, just like, Legacy Elves definitely leans on that card. Maybe I should have Street Wraith there because I could have hit a Thought Scour and milled the Druid. That's reasonable. Maybe that's what I should have done. Try to spike that low percentage chance to hit the Thought Scour. It's very possible. It is possible. All right. Yeah, we're still going to cycle this Street Wraith anyway just to hit maybe like a Fatal Push, so... Oh gosh, if we hit like Thought Scour here, this or that, I'll feel pretty stupid. So I'm actually just dead? I am. Fair enough. Fair enough. Elves, man. Alright, so we do have a lot of tech though for this matchup, which is nice. I actually do like Brutality against Elves because it kills most of their threats and it also takes like a company out of their hand. Persecution has a lot of targets. Slaughter Pack can come in. Dark Blast, Death Mark, the Languish. So what's weak? Our counter magic is relatively weak. There are some targets. Unmaking is overkill. Souls is a little too slow to help. They pump out their hand pretty quickly, so we'll cut Whispers. Liliana obviously stays. Shield could go. Unless you want to be able to punch through. That's the benefit of Shield, is it allows us to punch through. Actually, Profane's fine. So you have 4 cuts to make. Really don't want the counter magic very much of it at all. But we do have to be able to counter company. We could cut here and keep the Secrets to Find counter Squall. Could cut something arbitrary like a Thought Scour or a Bauble. For cutting on the Delirium spells, then I don't think we need the Bauble as much. I definitely want to keep Architects if we're going to keep Secrets. You cut like a Bauble. It's fine. Yeah, on these potentially ground battle fights, I want to keep some of the ways to punch through, like the shield. Removal and a Lily. Yeah, we'll keep this. And the counter Squall, so we could at least counter the first Collected Company. There's a Thoughtseize. I know we have a white spell in our hand, but our primary colors are blue, black. Druid, Sentinel. Okay, so I think what we do here is we take the Druid. Oh, that's a problem. So I can't quite Tazgir. I can't quite do much of anything this turn. We can pass and we could like push something, but same forest, yes it is. Land, please. Come on, deck. Oh, we milled over the land again. So we have a little bit of time to draw out, but maybe I should have pushed the Sentinel last turn instead of holding on to it. Come on, Brutality. Come on, land into Brutality. Okay, well, Bauble. So they've got another Archdruid coming up. Okay, so we got to play Tazgir because it's not good enough just to push the Sentinel anymore. Hey, I'm not all doom and gloom, guys. Oh, we want to leave black creatures, obviously. Ooh. Most everything else in our graveyard is irrelevant. So let's leave some creatures so we can tutor stuff if we should see a Mausoleum Secrets later in the game. Oh, speaking of which, we drew one. So we still have a turn to see that land, and just did not get there. That's okay. So we're 1-1. I mean, there's very many matchups in Modern that we'll lose if we can't cobble together 2 lands. Like our deck, the baseline of the deck, sure, there's a lot of 1-drops. Like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot that the deck can do on just 1 land, but there's so much in here. There's still a lot there, you know, especially some of the sideboard cards we brought in. I just can't cast unless we at least hit 2 land. So, not to justify it, but yes, we're the kind of deck where if we get mana screwed, the deck really doesn't work. So, I guess I'll keep this one. It's got Architects, and we get to Scry. So we'll keep this. But it happens. I mean, elves, man, they'll get you. I don't think our matchup there is bad. I wish we'd seen a little bit more what they were doing game 1. I might have reevaluated the counter magic. Bottom. You know what? I think I'll just Thoughtseize here. And we also have a Shadow in hand, so it's kind of tempting to just fire off the... Alright, so we're playing against this deck. Alright, so module, don't worry about it for now. 2 Seers and a Walker. Kind of just like taking a Seer over Seer, so to speak. Now, this is definitely a matchup where I'm glad we have the Stonies out of the board. Now, Stony doesn't do everything for us, but some of our sideboards are quite good here. Persecution, Explosives, Stonies. And yes, I do bring those in at the same time against this deck. Dark Blast is great. Languish is good enough to bring in. Alright. There's the module. Unfortunately, the Denial not very good in this matchup, as you're seeing. We could put Shadow into play here, which I think is definitely what I'm considering doing. Shadow is indeed pretty important to this matchup. Cycling the Architects gives us Mausoleum Secrets for 1 that could be another Shadow. It's a neat little trick. Yeah, Llanowar Reborn plus the module. It's kind of neat. We do have 4 card types, so this Whispers is online. Which is pretty sweet. Two of those card types came from the Architects of Will artifact creature, so we hit Arcbound Worker and the Overseer. Hand is a Hangerback Walker and some others. We'll make it 4 damage instead. Put him to 16. Denial's online, but their deck is actually very... They're not running very many non-creature spells. What should we be thinking about? Excuse me for getting Liliana probably, but we need more black creatures to do that. We get secrets for an answer to the Overseer. That might just be the correct play to just secrets for Fatal Push and deal with the Overseer. I don't mind that play at all. I don't think that's a bad line to just take care of that guy. We really don't want this running amok. Like, I'm pretty sure killing this is more important than playing another Shadow. And sometimes that's what you do with it, you know? You don't have to get fancy. Sometimes getting fancy gets you killed. Put him to 12. Now, opponent's having a little bit of trouble with land. Now, that would definitely be something I would stubborn, but I'm still happy for the play that we made. Do not regret. Opponent's taking a long look at that Ancient Stirrings. Takes Inventor's Fair. So he's got 2 unknown now. 2 cards, we have no idea what they are. Strongest draw here at the moment, or strongest draws I should say, things like Lingering Souls, Liliana, I'd settle even for like a Snapcaster Mage. It's funny it even triggers when your opponent's things happen. Now here's where, now against the artifact decks, my ways to swing through a board are very ineffective, but the Stony Silence sideboard plan helps. Like against opposing decks that have a lot of black creatures or artifact creatures, I really have a hard time swinging through. Space Shields, I believe, says colors, right? Yeah, so can't swing through them with this. And then, of course, this is Fear, so artifact creatures. Unfortunate. But I think the Stony Silence and some of the other cards we have coming in this matchup will definitely compensate. This is a matchup where the Dark Blast is quite good. No. It's very important for us to be able to counter that. What's up, Vegan? What else you got for us? Ooh, Ravager. Now we're going to have a real game, chat. We are going to have a real game now. I imagine he's going to use Llanowar Reborn to move. I think he's going to graft onto the Ravager. I like this land a lot, even though it's a tapped land. I like this concept. This is cool tech. It's definitely something I would try in the Hardened Scales deck. Ravager's a thing. Can we draw something useful? That was very useful. Okay, so we probably just have to path the Ravager, as awkward as that is. If we don't, well, if we do, he's just going to move all that to the Walker. We are in trouble. Kind of have to wait for him to make the first move here. I don't think we can just fire off the path as much as I want to. I think we have to kind of wait to see what he does. I am okay with this block. Do your shenanigans. Okay. And I think it's important that we waited there patiently. Because basically we gave the opponent the ability to screw that up. Okay. Nice work, team. Path is a real reason to be in white. Path to Exile? I think that's a real reason to be in white. Languish, Explosive, Stonies. We get to try those out for the first time in this league. Dark Blast. I don't think I want Slaughter Pact, but Slaughter Pact does if they have some graveyard hate. Still, it's something that I can still get with the Mausoleum Secrets. So if we think he's going to have some graveyard hate, this is useful for that reason. I don't think he's going to have good graveyard hate, though. It's not really that efficient. I don't really want these technically 3 mana removals. I'm okay with the 4 mana sweeper, but I'm not really okay with like 3 mana removal, which is what these are. These are like really specialized though. This hits anything, but it takes life points. This is something we could always get with secrets, whether or not there's a black creature in the graveyard. And then of course this is good against planeswalker creature decks like your Juns, etc. Your Abzans, opposing Grixis Shadow actually. Oh yeah, so this is bad in the matchup, just like as is the Faith Shield. Those come out because my opponent's creatures are all artifacts, so they don't let us swing through. Which is, they need to have multiple modes, right? When those cards have the flexibility that they also have the ability to let us like swing through a board that gets clogged. That is one of the things that we do really miss out on in red, is the ability to swing through board states. I think our counter magic is very weak in this matchup. There's really only 8 things that I want to hit with them. Obviously, it'd be nice to not have to deal with the enchantment, but since he's on the play, we won't really be able to interact with that anyway. I could get behind the Slaughter Pact just to make sure that if he does bring in Graveyard Hate, that we're always able to find something. I could get behind it for that reason. The Slaughter Pact. That's why it's in the sideboard, just in case we still want to have the tutors. Oh wow, this hand's amazing, potentially. Has a sideboard card, has 3 lands and a Lily. Sign me up. And it's got a little bit of disruption. Hello, baby. Hello, baby. We can still lose, but this hand has the potential to be nutty. Okay, well that wasn't the enchantment. We just get to pluck whatever he gets off the Stirrings, right, if we want to. Ancient Stirrings is still so very good. Hangerback Walker. Moxen. No need to get fancy. Now let's take our time on this Thoughtseize. So, we have a Zealous Persecution. So, do we really care about the animation module? Not really. We do care about the Spellskite, because the Spellskite's going to really mess up what I was planning to do with this Lily. So I do think we take the Spellskite. We may cycle this Street Wraith next turn. There's the Nexus. Oh, did he draw Nexus? Oh, he did draw Nexus. Okay, that was his top deck, so his hand is... His hand is... That can't be right. Yeah, it is. Whoa. Thoughtseize, Hangerback, Mox Opal, Module, Spire. Oh, he had a second Mox Opal. Okay. So his hand is a Mox Opal. This is probably Walker. Yep. So his hand is Animation Module, Spire, another Mox Opal. So let's go ahead and Street Wraith. No, let's Thin first. There's Path. That might be just where we wanted to move. Singerback is always such a pain. Now he doesn't actually put the counter on until he activates the Walker. Yeah, I still should. If I'm going to Path anyway, that's where I should have Pathed the Walker. So I don't want him to make the little dude. Another Hangerback Walker. Maybe what we'll do instead, though, pathing is just persecutioning. And sure, he gets 2 tokens, but we've handled half. We've handled half of 2 walkers, and we killed the servo. And the next turn we can drop Liliana without much worry and plus her up on one of the Thopters. I think she's going to be relatively safe. She's going up to 4 loyalty. She's facing an Inkmoth Nexus and a Thopter. They don't have haste. They honestly don't have a lot of ways to... Well, we'll see. We'll play a little bit of Protect the Queen here. He has to go after Liliana now. So... That's disappointing. I wish I tapped a little bit differently now, but it's a little late to worry about that. We have a lot of land, guys. That's not a recipe for success. Try to keep the Liliana alive. I'd like to path the worker just because of the way that the modular works, right? It does say dies. Uh-oh, this is something. Oh, he's using the other mode on this thing. How's it going, Ike, by the way? So Liliana is still surviving. I think mana efficiency is fine. It's a little greedy, but it's not like they have. It's not like they're affinity and they're gonna gal blast me to death. I'd be very surprised. Sleepy, huh? Maybe she catch some Z's. I appreciate you coming by to mod though. Another Moxen. He just wants to play a 2-drop in his hand. I'm good. Things are good. Sunday night, playing some Magic, hanging out, having a good time. Hope you guys are enjoying yourselves. Okay, so it's a Hangaback Walker. Again, like I said, we're just playing Protect the Queen. So we are just trying to... Okay, Snapcaster Mage, I can get behind that. So we could snap Path the Walker. Ooh, there's a Stony too. So we have some options here, chat. One option is just very simply snap Persecution Lily away the Thopter, and then he's on nothing but a Nexus. That's kind of a tempting idea. Is that the line we want to do? Snap Persecution. He loses the servo, takes care of the front side of the Walker. Lily can take care of the back side, and then he's just got the Nexus. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Now, we're not playing anything like Faithless Looting, so there's really no reason to hold lands unless we just want to keep that information concealed. So I think I will play the Marsh Flats. I'll probably hold the Delta. I could see us wanting 5 mana, right? Maybe? Snapcasting a 3 mana spell? I don't know. Yes, we do want to get the Stony Silence into play. Oh my goodness. Alright. Not bad, opponent. Stony here is relatively relevant because it turns off the ability for him to use the module. Going to 4. Shadow. Alright, so Stony will turn off the baubles in our list. I mean, you don't cut them when you bring it in, though. I think we take out the... Well, we could shrink the Walker. What do we want to do with this Lily? Do we want to just take out the servo? It's probably still correct to just take out the servo, attack with the Snapcaster. We don't need to get fancy. It is a sweet card. There's lots of little fun ofs in this Esper list. I definitely still feel that Orzhov Charm is the main reason to be in this color combination, though. Like, if you're going to choose this over... If you're choosing this over something like Grixis or even like Traverse style of Shadow... Okay, so he decides to block. I'm okay with this exchange. It's him saying he wants the Flyers, which is a real thing. I mean, I am at 4. Now, we took game 1, so we do have a game to give. Thopter's coming across, trying to spike us. Overseer. Alright, we gotta draw live here. Okay, gotta draw live here. Snap. Well, now I wish I had the Zealous, right? Okay, so what can we do? We have Snap Path. We have Lily, Kill, and Snap Path. Right? Yeah. So we're not totally screwed. We still have plays. I don't regret using the Persecution earlier, even though it's technically a better spot here. See if he lets us wallop him with the Shadow. I imagine he's going to consider firing up the Nexus, right? Like, I don't think you want to just take this 11, do you? And, I mean, Esper Shadow is much more grindy than Grixis Shadow, and not necessarily in a good way, because they can grind for a bit and then end the game on the spot with a Battle Rage. $25. Oh yeah, Puddin'? That's not bad at all. Yeah, so he's going to go for the block I was considering. Or that I was thinking that he would. That's fine. We let this happen. Shadow shrinks a little bit. Not a big deal. Yeah. So Snap Path keeps us alive. And if we'd gone much lower, like on our street wraithing and fetching and stuff, like, we would be dead right now. Right here. Liliana did a lot. She did some lifting this game, but we may still lose it, so. Just kind of have to hope that his last card or so is not relevant and that we draw a relevant card. We were not dead to Ballista off the top due to the Stony Silence, which is nice. Scales. Okay. And maybe we win from here. Whoops. Kill that, because we would die to it. Hit you for a bunch, and then hit you for a bunch. Liliana, man. She is... Whew. Etched Champion. Does that win? I guess we lose now, potentially. Because he gets to block the Shadow and then he just kills us. That's sad. Do we really lose? Yeah. Not necessarily. Okay, so what if I were to... No, I don't have a way to not be blocked by the Etched Champion. That's frustrating, chat. What a frustrating card. I don't see a line to beat this. I don't see a line to beat this. I'm just trying to see if there is one. Snap. Did we bring in the Edict? I don't think we did. So now I'll definitely want this in so we can take care of that card. That's frustrating a little bit. But not much I can do about it, chat. And of course, this is yet another example of a board state where we really wish we had Battle Rage. Man, we were really close, chat. I don't want him to think that I don't have outs, however. So I think we will snap. Thought Scour. That's just too bad. Good thing we have another game against this guy. That's frustrating. What a frustrating card. Reminds me when I used to play against a lot of Affinity. Just a very frustrating card to play against. But we can beat it. We know now that we know that it's in. I don't remember seeing that in a lot of the lists of that deck. We actually had two outs, or we had one out to that card there. That would have been Languish. And then the out that we have now is also to the Slaughter, but we have to remove all other threats. That's the hard part. But I like having the out to the card. Because like we had that game locked down, and it was just we just couldn't cross over the finish line, so to speak. I think cutting down on baubles is actually important when we bring in the Stony Silences, actually. Let's go ahead and make that change. That sounds painful, Puddin' Stars. Hot oil. Sounds very painful. I'll give this a try. Isn't that frustrating, chat? We had it. No need to fetch. And if we did fetch, we'd want Godless Shrine. Still, that sounds painful. We definitely want third land, so no reason to fetch just yet. Ooh, sideboard card. Piece candy. Actually, our hand has quite a few sideboard cards because I moved to the Slaughter from the main board to the sideboard, actually. Which I think is correct. So we've got creature. When we fetch, we'll have creature land. If I cast the Dark Blast, we'll have creature land instant. So we are close. Close to Dark Blast. Now I don't get priority here to kill the Overseer before he would have Metalcraft for the Mox Opal. That's not how that works. So opponent, if he wants to cast something else, he certainly can. Oh, I very much so like Dark Blasting this Overseer. Are you kidding me? This is what we live for. It's what I live for when I play this deck. Oops. Let's pay for our spell properly. So we actually don't have Delirium still. It's close though. So what we can do is pass the turn back, I guess. That's sad. 2 card types, just creatures and lands. Need some spells. I still think dredging the Dark Blast is correct. Well, no, we needed another land, didn't we? Now, granted, we would have drawn Shadow instead. So maybe what we'll do this time is just push or blast something and then... we probably need to natural draw next turn. I was hoping that that would get us into... oh, am I just misplaying like hardcore? I always forget this guy has that other mode. My bad, chat. We're just misplaying hardcore now. But we really do need to draw a third land. Like we have a Snapcaster, we have it to the Slaughter. So maybe the Magic Gods will smile upon us. No, I'm not going to do that again because that burned us last time. We'll take his best card. Hopefully that'll fix my greediness. Yeah, hanger backs are very good. No, we fell for it. If I was going to do that, I should have spent the Fatal Push. Brute Toast indeed, but it's well deserved if we're going to lose. That's the way to lose, right? Make a misplay. Like, if we're not going to see a third land, though, we were going to lose anyway. We do have 4 card types finally. I just don't know if we have enough time to justify whispering. I mean, sure, I'd love to him to Turok his hand here, but I don't know if we have enough time to justify making that play. Didn't get your money. We took Ravager. So his hand is Walker, Worker. So if we did Whisper here, he would just be on what he has. 1, 2, 3, 4. But then I have to draw out, right? If we push the Ravager, we die, maybe. Well, let's hope for the best, which would be land next turn. And I think part of what made us lose was we were trying to spend a little bit too much time setting that up when... I think the one turn where I could have pushed the Worker, we'd be taking a lot... We would be at a bit of a higher life total and this and that. But that's okay. Good lesson. Now I know what the rest of the text on module is. And that's the other thing too, like in Paper, like you can see the whole card. On Moto, it's like unless I zoom in, it's hard for me to recall what the card does necessarily. It is kind of a fringe card in a lot of these Hardened Scales affinity decks. But they, on reasonable occasion, you'll see one copy. So opponent's going to make moves to try to kill us here. Is indeed a neat little interaction. We could just be easily dead here, right? And again, like if I didn't go for the Delirium spell, well, granted, if we hadn't milled with the Dark Blast earlier, we would have had. Couldn't opponent have killed us? They could have put us really close. So no. Okay, Thought Scour into land, right? So cancel. So there's the land I was hoping for, but it might be too late. Yeah, I don't see how we live now. Because if I kill Ravager, he moves as a Worker, we die. Yeah, that's too little too late, and that's okay. I still don't think this is a terrible matchup for us. I mean, in fairness, I think we basically won game 2. That was a very nice top deck from the opponent, the Edge Champion, like right as the turn we were swinging for lethal, and he was able to block and then swing back for lethal on us. Like if we'd been at 3 life, it would have been a different story. And if he hadn't drawn exactly that card, it would have been a different story. So that's just too bad. But that's okay. I also don't feel all that emotionally attached to this league because it's just testing and I paid for it in points. So you don't feel that bad about that situation. But yeah, I do think the mistake where I Dark Blasted the Worker where I didn't need to definitely at least cost us that turn. And I definitely feel like we've been kind of more or less a turn behind the rest of the game. And it showed. And it looks like we never really would have gotten that 4th land. That's okay. We're definitely playing out this league though, guys, because since I paid for it in points, I paid for a friendly, so this is... Well, first of all, on the Brew Spy show, I hope you guys know that I always play out leagues even if we can't prize anymore. Now this would be the point where if this was a comp league where we'd have to win out from this point. But since it's a friendly, like we only need to take one more victory and we recoup some lost points. So that is a thing. It's not even 10 p.m. yet, guys. We might get to play Pauper as well. So I prepared 2 decks for you guys tonight, one of which was Modern. That's the list we're playing now. The other list, of course, I'll put this in the chat for you guys. The other list was a Pauper list. So there's a new card that entered... oh, wrong button. There's a new card that entered the Pauper format. Just making sure we didn't get an opponent. So, foil. And I know you're sitting there, you're like, wait a minute, foil is Pauper playable? In theory, yes. So, there have been a few people dabbling in the card, giving it a try. And I do think that there are certain cards that are legal in Pauper that actually can allow you to get away with a couple copies of it. I'm only playing 2 copies. I've seen some players even playing as many as 3 copies. So this says you may discard an island and another card rather than pay this spell's mana cost, counter target spell. Hefty cost, right? Well, not really. So Gush says you may return 2 islands you control to their owner's hand rather than pay the spell's mana cost, draw 2 cards. So between Daze and Gush, it's not that difficult to pay for at least some part of the foil. And I actually think it would blend really well with an all-in deck like Inside Out combo. So for those of you that aren't aware of this Pauper list, or Pauper Wombo combo, you'd use this Tireless Tribe, and you have a lot of cantrips, just straight up either 1-for-1 cantrips or this or that, and try to draw to the perfect hand, and then you swing through using some combination of Shadow Rift on the Tireless Tribe, and then you Inside Out the card as you cast a bunch of Gushes, and fill your hand to pitch to the tribe. So I wonder if something like this might be neat as another free pitch counterspell. We'll see. Because it's the kind of deck that if you can't protect the Tireless Tribe, you lose. That's why you see things like mainboard dispels and stuff. It is an interesting deck for sure. It has pretty good redundancy. You're even running a tutor for the Tireless Tribe. I think I keep this. It's on the draw and it's got Bauble with a fetch. I think we keep this. Opponent's 1-0, we're 1-2. Steam Vents Terramander. Alright. We'll do it now because there's a couple cards that would deal with the Terramander. We do want that land, so we will take it. Well, that's frustrating because I forgot that I did have a Turn 1 Thoughtseize that I wanted to do. But we can't deny ourselves that land, I think. But that's okay. And against an aggressive deck like our opponent's going to be on, I don't even necessarily want to fetch shock here, do I? I mean, sure, we have a shadow in our hand, but we have a lot of self-damage as it is, right? We've got Orzhov Charm, which we probably aim at one of their creatures. Fetch Bauble. Yeah, I think the Fetch Bauble hand's fine. I'm just thinking to myself, I don't know if I necessarily want this shock. Right? Let's see, 18, 16, 14, 12. I mean, that's true. We could get the shadow in as early as next turn, but they have a lot of. They probably have a bolt. But we have Orzhov Charm. Let's not have any fear. No fear. We might even get to strip the removal spell here. Double Gut Shot. Okay. So we don't want to play the shadow into that, obviously. I think I'll still shock. I mean, if you're trying to flip Thing in the Ice, I mean, that's a way to do it. Opponent's having trouble finding second land. No, Terramander's sweet. It's a cool, definitely a cool card. You know, these like Reveler decks, etc. It's definitely a cool card. Not hard to adapt it in Modern or maybe even Legacy, if you want to think about this card in Legacy. Not that difficult to adapt it. She's got a white splash. That's cool. For what I don't know. I mean, sure, we could just kill the Pteramander. And there's a Phoenix. So you might just start gut-shotting us just to get the Phoenix into play. Now we don't have to worry about losing the shadow to the gut shot, but we do need to remove some of what's going on over there. So a Fatal Push, it's probably Shadow Push the Pteramander, right? And do we even want to wait for my opponent's turn to come around? One, two, three, four, five, 6 spells, so he could flip it, so to speak. Land would be very nice here. Metamorphose. Oh, Pteramander's sweet. Honestly, I like it better in Legacy because you get Thought Scour and Mental Note. No, it's a sweet card. The Pteramander. It's not hard to make it blue for a blue for a 5/5 flyer. It's not that difficult to do, even in Modern. I would pay 2 mana for blue. I mean, sure, you can pay black for anyway. So he didn't attack. Huh. It's tempting to Orzhov Charm, but I don't think I'm supposed to. Yeah, their deck's a lot of cantrips. It is a sweet, sweet card, and it is a sweet, sweet deck. I don't know why he has the white splash, but I'm excited about it. Might just be like sideboard stuff, maybe like, because I don't think he fetched for the fountain. It could be like Stony Silences out of the board, kind of thing. Bottom. Sleight of hand. Faithful Saluting. So now he's on double Phoenix. That's a problem. Well, actually, no, it's not. Could we deal the... Well, we can't deal 13. Unfortunately, it's not how Shadow quite works. We can charm one of them. he casts something, we could kill him. I don't know why he would, though. I kind of wish I'd cast the Counter Squall earlier in the game now. Well, actually... Well, no, he has Gut Shot still in his hand, doesn't he? Yes, he does have Gut Shot. So, unfortunately, if I were to fetch and play Lingering Souls, we're just dead. So maybe he plays a spell? I don't know why he would. Bait him to Gut Shot. Oh yeah, that's true. I should have. I could have fetched to get him to try to Gut Shot. He didn't have a counterspell though. Good call, Gallagher. That would have been a better play. Like act as pretend as if I forgot about the Gut Shot. What brutalities, right? That kills his threats, gains us some life, right? He kills a lot of the threats in their deck. Well, okay, hold up. So Graveyard Hate, Surgical, that kind of stuff. Shield is interesting. Like as far as removal is concerned, I don't even mind Anguish because at least it's permanent removal, whereas like Liliana seems a bit weak. They poop out their hand pretty quickly. I don't think I want Whispers. I don't think I want the Counter Squall. I think if we are going to have counter magic, we want it to be efficient, and I don't even know if I want that much. Is there anything else that strikes your fancy, chat? Their mana's pretty greedy, but I don't think I'd run Presence. I pretty much just want this for, like, Tron. I don't think there's anything else I want. Well, I think I like what's in. Right, Spell Bomb, Extraction. I don't think we cut Push. Push is fine. We could cut the Profane. It's not like they go wide. It's not like they have a lot of threats on the table, so it's not... The only reason I would keep Shield is because it essentially counters a burn spell. And lets us swing through, whereas Command, better when we're in a grind. Opponent's deck's not trying to grind. They're trying to kind of wombo off over there. So we got 2 slots. Mischief's also kind of fun to think about in the Bolt matchup. I still think though we could find a better card than Mischief. Like we'd still be better off maybe playing Whisper or even the Counter Squall. Like I don't think we want Dark Blast, like for the same reason that we don't want Lily. I know this has targets, but it's not great. We could play the Slaughter Pact, just in case we think he's going to Graveyard Hate us and I'm still running Secrets. Maybe just play the Brutalities. We could just play the Brutalities. This hits a lot of his threats. Just keep it simple. They're kind of a bit of a glorified burn deck, right? The old no-lander. So I'm gonna toss this back. And we're on the draw, and we get a scry. I think this is safe to keep. We'll bottom the shield. We really want black mana though, so it's kind of awkward that we have like one of the few sources in the deck that's not black. How's it going, Co-Stone 2? Explosives, just hitting the table. It's bold. Okay, Bauble Delta. Yeah, but then we don't get the Thoughtseize. All right, hold up. If it's something like really juicy, I'll consider not Thoughtseizing now. It's just a Marsh Flats, whatever. I mean, we want third land eventually. Don't get me wrong, chat. But what you cooking? They have a lot of redundancy, so sometimes it's hard to know what to take. So we have a path for the Thing in the Ice. I kind of just think I'm supposed to take Visions. I don't really care about the rest of his hand. we have two really solid answers to the thing. Now at this point, how do we want to exchange the Thoughtseize? Like, really all we're getting out of it is half a Faithless Looting, right? What's up, Flux? Or we could just take the other thing in the ice. And just to be mana efficient, I might just fire off this path in the end step. Oh, but there's a Phoenix. That's a juicy path target. Surgical's my Delta? Okay. I don't believe Phoenix is a May. I think he has to. Yeah, it just says return, so we get to path the Phoenix here. So you can snap path here. I think it's just unnecessary. We still have shadows in the deck, even though he's got that set up to take care of the shadow. I think I'm okay with this play. Terramander is indeed modern. We're playing against it right now, Costo. Yeah, it's blue for a 5/5 flyer. Seems pretty good. Our opponent's playing it. I mean, eventually we'll play a shadow into the explosives, but not when it's like not when it's mana efficient for the opponent. Opponent's probably sitting on a handful of like blue cards and can't cast them. I don't know why he's got double mountain. It's kind of strange. It might be correct for me to snap Thoughtseize this guy. Actually. Oh, another surgical? Okay. We knew about the one surgical. His hand's 3 unknown at this point, so it's fine. But that means he's surgicaling the Thoughtseizes instead of me losing the flashback Lingering Souls, so I think I'm okay with that. Wait, am I trying any new cards? Absorb is definitely sweet, Flux. Definitely kind of cool to see that enter the modern format. He's flashing back a looting. We might get to stub the next card he plays. We'll see. I think he knows about the... Well, he knows about the stub. He's surgicaled us twice. Yeah, so let's play a shadow. Because right here, he's not able to just immediately pop the shadow away, which is kind of nice. I was trying Electrodominance a little bit in a build. We played last stream, Flux. I don't think you were here. Doing some shenanigans with Electrodominance is fun. It's definitely a strong enabler because, or for things like balance or living in, because you have a lot more control over the card. Like Asper told was sorcery speed, but Electrodominance lets you do it during your opponent's turn, like before attacks or during their end step. Yeah, oh yeah, definitely seems sweet. Is this just going face? Okay. I like countering here because it forces him to use the fetch and then he can't explosives. Like, you don't attack with the Phoenix here, right? Well, I guess he is. But that was a free counter on the bulk because it looks like he's holding up the explosives for sure. We don't want to cycle this Wraith for obvious reasons. Actually, my plan is probably to flashback souls, right? Or are we just deploying another shadow? We'll attack like this. And flashback souls. Hey, what's up, Adam? How's it going? Kind of like a better card, Zev's expertise. Exactly. It's a better enabler for sure. Brandio says I've been trying Sphinx of Foresight. Card seems cool. Put him to 5. Flashback souls. Even if we block, we still kill him the next turn. And that's the thing, like Shadow, we can grind like this. Or I'm sorry, I'm saying even if I chump with a spirit, we still kill him on the kick, the swing back. Unless he draws something relevant here. Double Phoenix. I mean, we have the advantage here still, right? Like, if he does swing, we double block to kill one, right? Or no, we don't. We don't have to do that. Like, if we chump, we force lethal next turn. Right, so if we chump, we swing out, opponent has to block, and then we die. That doesn't make sense. If we double block, opponent's on no cards. We don't get to kill him next turn, but we'll probably just deploy Shadow and then kill on the following turn. I'm okay with that. Architects. Yeah, we'll cycle that. Could get like a path. It's not quite a path. So I don't like swinging with the spirits because the Phoenix just gets to eat them up. A Snapcaster swing, of course, is fine. I mean, we're not even dead to bolt here because we can block. Can almost play my 3/4. Right? Working on it. Okay. So opponent is drawing 2 and discarding 2. Well, as far as casual leagues are concerned, we've prized. Let's see if we can bring it home. 3-2 time. Let's do it. The deck is a lot of representation on Moto right now, by the way, in Modern. There's a lot of people jamming the Arc-like Phoenix decks. Quite, quite popular. Quite a lot of people playing it, and it's certainly a deck. It's got a lot of redundancy, a lot of the things that a lot of modern decks just don't have. Like, for example, I've opted for tutor targets and tutors instead of like a bunch of serum visions, which, you know, may or may not be a good thing. But yeah, I like my Esper Shadow pile. It's a lot of fun. I'm into it. 2-2 playing for the 3-2. Can we do it? Can we do it, chat? Can we do it? Let's try. Tempting to keep this. Yeah, let's do it. I just like options, Flux. All of them. That's all. We'll do this now because I'm not sure if I'm thought seizing or thought scouring. So Taziger we don't need, so that means we probably should just thought seize. If we already have a Delve Thread in our hand, it's awkward to have two of them. It is not good to have two of them. Didn't mean to good luck and have fun. Now if I good luck and have fun, it's like BM because I'm thought seizing them. Oh, this matchup again. Ooh, piece of candy. So they don't have a lot going on especially if we take their Thoughtseize. They're just a bunch of cantrips and some bolts and planeswalkers. It may still be correct for us to take Lily of the Veil. Lily of the Veil's, well, so Lily of the Veil is good against our Angler, but Last Hope Lily's good against the Lingering Souls. I may just want to take their Thoughtseize. Especially since we're on the play. Well, if we don't hit another land, though, we're kind of screwed. Mausoleum, Secrets, Glittering Wish, Wizard Cycling. So there's the Serum. Oh, he drew the Spire Bluff Canal. Oh, that's an interesting choice for Shadow. It's not what I would expect for Grixis Shadow. No land. Let's Thought Scour. Still no land. That's not good. Well, it was nice knowing you guys. Unless we draw land like right here and we can counter the Planeswalker, we're in trouble. Phew. And it is a 2-for-1 since we missed land. Oh, Moto, please stop. Please stop. Thank you. So if he slams Walker, we get to counter Squall it. Looks more like Grixis control. You sure? I guess it could be. Very well could be. Third land is actually nice. Let's not fetch. Whispers, 5-card types. Still don't want to fetch. Hoping for third land, didn't get there. Okay. Yeah, this probably is control, but like the Liliana suggests that he's more like mid-range, Grixis mid-range. Actually, I was thinking I wanted to Whispers, but now I think I still want to sit on the counter Squall, actually. Maybe that's wrong. Because I think about it, we could hit both Lilies, right? Yeah, I could see it being control. Oh yeah, he needed another black source to even cast the Liliana, so there's that. But I like my odds a lot more in this case if he just goes to slam Lily. Like we Squall that, and then opponent's only on 4 cards. If we were to Whispers, we have a 50% chance of hitting the card that we want to. His hand is Bolt, Bolt, Lily, Last Hope, 1 unknown. Let's roll the dice. Might get lucky. Might have a spell snare as well. All right, we got lucky. His hand is Bolt 1 Unknown. Search for Skanta. Okay. Unmaking. Still nothing to reanimate on the... That's frustrating. I don't want to just put a Snapcaster into play. Are you kidding me? If we had a Shadow, this would be a different story. So his last card is... his hand is Bolt. I mean, it didn't seem like a Grixis control with the Planeswalkers, but... I'm with you. Okay, so he mills a Fatal Push, flips his Escanta. So we do got to make something happen. Like maybe I don't have time to sit anymore. This feels weak though, right? He can just bolt the snap. It's not doing anything. But we're going to lose the long game if I'm not making a play each turn now because of the Escanta. Well, we needed land. Another Rise Fall. This guy's really into that card. So we lose the Unmaking, but I don't care too much about losing the Face Shield in this matchup. I also don't want to play into him Escantaing into a Sweeper. But that being said, if I don't get some more threats in play, we're going to lose anyway. Just because he's going to start to run away with the game. No, Sconta's sweet. I've even seen the card in Legacy. It's that good. It is that good. Takes a Ral. Okay. Ral isn't Viceroy. Interesting. True, it does. Fantastic. We can kill that with counterspell backup. There's a reasonable chance he has a counterspell here, so. Do we actually go after the Ral, or do we put him on the 3-turn clock? Because don't forget he has the Escanta advantage. I think I just go face. I know, chat. I know, but he's got 2 engines online. I think that we just kind of have to hope that these spirits get there. Like 2 full attacks, and then an attack where he takes out one of the spirits would be good enough. Snapcaster. Interesting. It is creature, right? Yeah. Just making sure. Man, what a game. Grixis Control. I have no idea if we can beat this post board. I'll try, but best case would be he like grabs an Electrolyze here and we counter the Electrolyze, right? Ooh, Culligan's Command. But he may smell the Stubborn Denial. Very possible. Opponent's playing it safe. Why play into a denial when you don't have to, right? Maybe I should have just attacked all out. Oh, okay. Alright, post board, what do we get to bring in against something like this? He had a lot of stuff that was targeting us. Might be kind of fun to... He also showed a Snapcaster Mage. Mischief, Planeswalkers. This is Search for Skanta. But maybe that's not good enough to bring it in. He had a lot of spells. Those could be useful even as just duresses. Things that are weak, the removal. These are reanimations, but they're still weak. Game's going to go long, so some of these filtering effects are a little bit weaker. The game will go long anyway, is what I mean to say. Shield just really protects. In this case, it's really not, I don't think, what I want to be doing. I like that card when it's both protection and the ability to punch through. Command's a reanimation, but I don't even know if I want them. There's a possibility he's going to go after our graveyard. And in that case, then the Secrets is very weak. So those are all considerations. Liliana, I think, is fine. So that's kind of where my mind goes. Probably some amount of this 5 we don't want. Again, like I really prefer Faith or Profane Command when we want to be... when more of the modes on them are relevant. Granted, Face Shield is a way for us to not get burned out at the end there, but don't think I want it. Do I want Secrets? He's probably on ley lines, right? Let's not even bother with it. Because at least the Orzhov Charm can still kill one of his Tazagers even if he ley lines us. Sand seems fine. Needs threats, but hopefully we'll draw into those. We're still running all of our threats, right? Yes. Although technically Secrets is another threat in waiting. We don't need to turn 1 Thoughtseize usually when it comes to what our opponent's on. I could see us going Bobble, 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 Bobble before his turn with the fetch. A Death Shadow I do want. So I'm down for that. We'll draw that, and then during his end step we can bobble ourselves again, and if it's a card we don't want, we fetch. I mean, worst case scenario, like if he goes to Thoughtseize us, we can just denial that. Again, just make sure it's not something I really want. It's a Marsh Flats, that's fine. So we'll stub this, so I like my hand. I do like it. So between shock, okay, well a fetch shock would put us to 14th and 12. So we could go Thoughtseize into Shadow, unless he has multiple burn, multiple removal spell here. Which is very possible that he does. Spellbomb, Snapcaster. Okay, so his hand's not that great. Kind of like even taking the Spellbomb here. Puts me to 15, then we can go to 12 and play a Shadow. Off of the other Watery Grave in the deck. That feels good. Now, is this where I Brutality? Probably. Unfortunately, I don't have a Street Wraith here. So his hand's kind of nothing. Well, we can't deploy the Shadow though, because he has access to Snap Bolt. So we need a fetch or a Shockland. Now what he could have done there is gone for the Snap Thoughtseize. We do have Delirium, so it's not like he can use the Snapcaster to protect. Like if he were to top deck a Liliana or what have you, we could still take it out with the Slaughter. Going for Snap Bolt, are we? Okay. I mean, I don't think I'm going to slaughter a Snapcaster Mage. So Snap Denial, I still think I just deploy Shadow and say go. But there's merit to sitting on the Snapcaster. Opponent's hand was a lot of lands though last we looked, so maybe we're still in the clear. So now we've got access to Snap Denial. It's fine. So Chumpcaster Mage. Bolt my face. Okay. Now, is it better here for me to use the Mischief than it is for me to use the Snap Denial? I think I'm supposed to use the Mischief, because that would denote that I have another counterspell. If he has Spell Snare, we lose this regardless as his last card. You don't bolt me, I bolt your Snapcaster. We are dead to Kolaghan's Command or another bolt though. Okay, so we've got Snap Denial. That's a sweet use of Mischief, right? You guys like that? Also, I was kind of hoping he'd like sideboard into a bunch of Ancestrals, which is not the case. Although now I kind of wish I'd gone with the Snapcaster play because he'd be dead right now. So, my bad. Pia and Kieran. Yeah, speaking of which. Oh, wait. We have Snap Brutality for the win. What am I doing? And he has no blue mana open? Yeah. Brutality is a sweet, sweet card. Oh, wait, he can just fling the... Oh, no, he doesn't have mana. Yeah, that's why we're not dead. He was just a bit shy. Whew. Okay, so he's got Pia and Kieran. Nalar. Does that change things? That is a scary card. It is also a lot of mana, though. I mean, Persecution takes out the Thopters. Doesn't do much else. I think we stay the course. I think I like how he boarded. Again, I don't want to get leyline. I don't think maybe he's on leyline, but... Yeah, that was a very close game, Gallagher. Oh, the Imp's Mischief? Yeah, this card's pretty cool. There's not a lot of redirect effects quite like it that are like tutorable and black and all these different things. Alright, we're going to mulligan this. Opponent is also mulligan, so... We'll keep looking for second and third land. Zealous Persecution hits his snaps, though. That's true. We have a Shadow in hand. I kind of want to keep this Street Wraith. But Grixis mid-range or control or whatever you want to call it, my opponent's on, will definitely do some of the damage for us. But let's Street Wraith. So again, we want to make sure that we use these baubles accordingly. Accordionly? That's how you say it, right? Watergrave coming up? Alright, we're cool with that. We're drawing the lands. Shadow is a sweet concept though, because like you're leveraging one of the weaknesses of Modern, which is fetch land into shockland mana for like the best access to the best mana in the format. But like if you're making it synergistic, then you're kind of getting around one of the weak points of. That's unfortunate. That was a pretty good hit for our opponent on that Rise Fall. I was kind of hoping he hit the Watery Grave. Alright, so anyway. Mishra's Bauble finds another Mishra's Bauble. Is that what we see? Mishra's Bauble revealing Mishra's Bauble. I don't really want that. I'd rather just see a land. You know? Speaking of which... Skullaghan's Command's the grindiest card in their hand for sure. Spellbomb's not the end of the world. Skullaghan's Command plus Snapcaster, of course, is a real pain. Ratchet Bomb's really the only card, though, that deals with my Lingering Souls effectively. So maybe we'll actually just take that. And you're not always going to shock. Okay, he's just going to pop it off now. That's actually a good thing for us. So we get to get the full value on our Lingering Souls next turn. Which is nice. Quite nice. Quite nice indeed, chat. Quite nice. I mean, Lingering Souls is an absurd card in this matchup, actually. They have a hard time dealing with it. And me taking the Ratchet Bomb should have given him signals that I had some Lingering Souls going on, right? So he wants to snap, fall. See, this would be bad, except the fact that my hand is another Lingering Souls. That would be bad, except I'm fine. Unless his last card he just drew as a surgical. Doesn't look like it. Alright, so actually this is nutty. We can take the Kolaghan's Command. Alright, so the card that he drew was a Fatal Push. There's merit to not swinging here. Like if we swing one spirit, he might even consider pushing the other spirit just to get the Snapcaster Mage in. So actually, I'm gonna try to bait him into using the push that way, because I mean we could top deck like a Shadow. We do want to get those out of the graveyard though, because they're probably safer in play than they are in our yard. We haven't seen any sweepers from this guy. He also doesn't have black mana. Black mana. Is that Pia? That was like worst case scenario for us. That's unfortunate. Tis a good card. But that actually wasn't a bad draw for us. We can double souls. So we got a comparable board. Opponent's hand is still Fatal Push. Yeah, he's playing like a Grixis mid-range. It's not really Grixis control. I haven't seen any Cryptic Command or anything in there. It just looks like the command of his choice is Kolaghan's Command. So if we do a little bit of live top decking. Snapcaster of my own. Snap Brutality to kill Pia. His hand is Snapcaster. He doesn't have enough mana to... We know his hand is push Snapcaster Mage, so why don't we Snap Brutality to kill the Pia. Right? Isn't that what we want to do? Or do we take out the Thopter? Like maybe I'm supposed to take out the Thopter. I could even just take the Fatal Push that's in his hand. But taking out the Flyer seems relevant. Well, he's probably going to snap Rise again, right? Yeah, Rise Fall's sweet. I don't know what I want to do with this Brutality. Like, I'm tempted to kill the Pia. It doesn't really do all that much if we take out the Thopter and we're free to just keep getting him with the spirits, though. I think that's fine. Like, this maximizes our damage this turn, because you can't cast the Fatal Push. Puts him to 13. Because we gotta close that gap. Lots of turns to kill him, even at 3 though. Kill Mom and Dad. Yeah, but I can just block with the Snapcaster Mage. Oh, well, he wants her to go into the graveyard. Yeah, that's true. Because Snap, Rise, Fall, return the Pia and Kieran. That's probably a mistake on my part, chat. I didn't even think about it. I should have been thinking about it. Didn't think about it. Yeah, we were supposed to leave it alive. That's fair, though. He also could, like, draw land, and then he can all of a sudden just... Yeah. No, that's grindy. That is very grindy. Nah, we weren't winning this one, chat. That's okay. Yeah, it's like a Grixis mid-range. I'd have to... Yeah, Grixis mid-range. I'd have to draw exactly like Thoughtseize there to kind of break up what he's doing. No, this is definitely a matchup where we would need to have stronger graveyard hate to win it, maybe. Maybe... I have considered Leyline of the Void for the sideboard a few times. Cut down a little bit on some of the cuter things in my sideboard. But, nah, I don't know what card would get us back into this. We'd need, like... Shadow? I don't know. I guess Persecution would be good here, right? Oh, he goes for Ratchet Bomb instead. Doesn't play the Pia and Kieran. Interesting. Nah, we've lost this one. That's okay. It was a good league. I definitely enjoyed it. We played against some decks that I do expect to see, some that I don't. But regardless, I always seem to have a lot of fun playing these Shadow decks just because there's a lot of intricacies. There's a lot going on than your average Modern deck. Not that I'm trying to belittle your average modern deck, because there's a real cost to playing with your life, right? But yeah, we shouldn't have killed it, because he has to recast it here. We should have known better. We knew he had a don't F6 the Gathering. So we can explosives to take out his Thopters. We want to do that before he untaps. But then we're still facing a lot of damage. Yeah, I think we're dead. Those are the only 2 Lingering Souls I have in the deck, and they would kind of be what we need to get out of this mess. Because we go to 3, now we're dead to Bolt. Draw Shadow here, and he has nothing. We could maybe get the game. Yeah, Mom and Pop Thopter Shop is sweet. Yeah. Well, we'll do it ourselves. Good games. Good games. All right, so we do get some play points out of that. Do you guys want to see us do? I don't think I'm gonna stay up to do another league because it's already 10:30 and I have work in the morning. But let's start another league with this Pauper deck. I think that you guys will like this. I know we don't play Pauper all that often on my show, but I think this is kind of a cool deck. This deck feels like you're playing Modern because you're doing something really degenerate in an otherwise relatively fair format. Which Pauper is very much so, a relatively fair format. So I'm not saying that we're gonna finish. Also, I want to be kind of not very tired as we play these games, so because we are doing a competitive. But this is a sweet list. This is me trying out a few copies of foil in Inside Out combo. So basically, the combo here, as far as how foil is theoretically playable in the deck or in Pauper in general, you have to put it in a Gush deck. It needs to be in a Gush deck because Gush says you may return 2 islands. So having 5 different ways to put islands back into our hand between days and the Gushes enables us to play 1 or 2 copies of this card. So foil, if you don't know, is discard an island and another card rather than pay this mana cost, counter target spell. Kind of like a really bad Force of Will, right? Where the 2 costs of Force of Will are pitching another blue card and 1 life. Big deal. This one, putting you down 2 cards is usually a little bit more than you can handle, but the fact that this is a Gush deck, it's not hard to do. Obviously, we don't want to foil. We don't want to Gush and then foil until we have the Tireless Tribe in play, but it's not hard for this deck to do that. In fact, that's the whole purpose of the deck. That's why it even has weird transmute tutors in it to find the Tireless Tribe. Anybody in the chat never seen Inside Out combo in Pauper? You use like an emote to kind of let me know. I'm happy to break it down further for those of you that have never seen this Wombo combo before. Or Pauper for that matter. Do you guys know what's going on here, or would it be nice to have somebody explain it? These are cast on 1 mana, ideally. These are 0s. These are up here. These are like 2 or more mana. This is 3 mana. Does everybody kind of know what our... Oh, these are also 0s. That's right, probe is Pauper legal. This is true. But yeah, that's kind of how it curves. More or less. You could put the Giga Drowse up there, I suppose. Kind of curves like this. I think the Hydroblasts are just in the board for like burn. Everybody in the chat know what this deck is up to, more or less? More or less? So we've got 3 free pitch counter spells, 4 free pitch draw spells, 3 free, just pay life, draw spells. Vegan says, I know it. Alright. This should be fun. Let's see if we got a match. Nope, still nothing. Sometimes it can take a while to get a Pauper League match. I'll be perfectly honest with you guys. It may take some time to get our opponent. But it's one of the pure combo decks still in the format, you know, as far as Pauper's concerned. It's got a lot going on. It's got a lot of counter magic. It's got quite a bit. It's up there with almost the same amount of counter magic as something even like, you know, teachings or whatever. Like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 counter spells. That's quite a bit of counter magic. You know, the basics, honestly surprised there's no common white cards worth running. In the sideboard, you'll have some white cards that are worth running, like very, very high density removal decks. You'll play the standard bearers. Against decks that can race us and they have creatures that we actually do need to kind of deal with. The journeys and the gut shots come in. So gut shots for the smaller stuff like your elves, etc. Journey for like blue-black delver to hit the Gurmag anglers, and then of course you got a little bit of action here, a disenchant and an apostle's blessing, just to have more ways to break through. Basically, this is an extension of the shadow rifts. So if you want another way to break through, because like against creature decks, we have to both inside out and shadow rift. So it's nice against some of the creature decks to switch into. Granted, Giga Drowse can like tap down some blockers too, but when you're going for the kill, but we have a couple different ways to get through. I'll be curious to see if there's too much tension between foil and tribal. Well, we're going to find out. I mean, so one of the reasons why I wanted to play this deck was there are not all that many Pauper decks besides like this or like, you know, one of the Delver variants that play enough Gush to actually even consider testing foil. Because I really do think you need Gush to consider playing foil in Pauper. I think it'd be very difficult to play, to support even more than even one copy of this card without the suite of Gush. So I'm trying a 2-to-4 split. But the Daze is also here to help out the foil a little bit. So we'll see. And there'll be some games where we just do it anyway. I mean, like, let's say we're up against Boggles, right? Vegan. And they keep a hand that's just a bunch of auras and only one Deuter to slap things on, or one hexproof Deuter. Granted, we don't have any removal, but you know, there's some matchups where I could see us using this kind of force of will-ish. My vision for this card, though, is after we drop the Tireless Tribe, we use it as a, you know, like we tribe and then they go for the removal, and then in response we Gush and then we foil. It's kind of my thought process. But I don't disagree with you, Vegan. This is a very, very heavy card. It's arguably one of the hardest cards to pull off, maybe even in the game, in like a competitive setting. You could always just cast it for 4. Oh, where are you going on vacation, Ike? Is it a staycation? Are you going anywhere? Exactly, Vegan. It's less mana to hardcast than force, right? That's the upside. I'm just kidding. It's a hard card to justify, but I think in concept it's a cool thing to enter Pauper. I don't know if any deck is going to be able to pull it off, but in my mind, I think it's this deck. Like, in my mind's eye, I think it's this deck. I don't think you want to put it in a deck that's trying to grind. Like, even the Delver decks, at the end of the day, they have to grind. Wow, we're still waiting for... I'm so sorry. You know, you guys, there's a bunch of you guys here, too, now at this point. Do you want to see the Shadow deck while we wait? You know, I'll pull this over here so I know when we're ready to go. So this is how the Shadow deck met its end. Some really cool stuff going on with our opponent's deck. Not just Kolaghan's Command to recur stuff, but they were recurring stuff with the Rise Fall as well. Super grindy card. It was a thing. Yeah, but watching MJ play, it wasn't always easy for him to pitch 5 cards to Tribe. Truth. Right, so we may not be able to afford to... I mean, like, maybe these are only going to be useful when we're up against some of the slower decks. where we kind of want to build up the perfect hand like a critical mass before we consider putting the Tireless Tribe into play, like your Teachings decks or your like blue black control. Those kinds of decks, I imagine we don't want to put the Tireless Tribe into play until we have a really nice stacked hand of like circular dispels and foils and whatnot. You know, I've been brewing with cards from the new set. Not the newest. Well, we did last stream, I guess you could say. I was trying to find a good shell for Electrodominance. I still am. I think that there's a deck there. Um, Honestly, it might be some variant of. Somebody was telling me. I think it was Coron was telling me that there. This is what we played last stream. Uh, Now I can't take credit for the 75 because some of the 75 was come up by Truckus. He had, I think he got like a 3-2 or a 4-2. Excuse me. He got a 4-2 with something similar to this, but it was pre Jace the Mind Sculptor. It was pre Electrodominance, of course. So I wanted to see if and the deck felt degenerate. We did win a few matches, but we didn't pull off the whole thing. But this was a cool concept. Mono Red Storm. Yeah, like Storm could. I actually saw Storm use Electrodominance and some other shenanigans like Wheel, like basically dominance to Wheel, because Wheel, believe it or not, does quite well with Past in Flames. So they were using Dominance as a relatively mana cheap Wheel enabler, Wheel of Fate enabler. But this deck was trying to use both Ancestral and Wheel. I think the better way to use Dominance would be you're using it with some combination of Wheel and Living End. I think would be the best deck. So if I was to rebrew this, I think that a Living End, like Coron said he saw like a Kiki-Jiki Pestermite Deceiver Exarch deck do well. Had some teeth to it. So like maybe I would strip this down and not try to be turns. Maybe we strip it down and try to be. I mean, maybe we want the Simians. I have no idea. More like a Living End deck. So you still want red for dominance. You'd want blue for, and like depending on whether or not you're also playing the As Foretold, you consider the Ancestrals. But there are other ways for us to. There are other ways for us to cheat out a Living End. Like we could do it through the Expertises. We don't have to do it through As Foretold. So we don't. I'm not saying we have to be in blue. Like Kari Zevs is another way. Like we could go like red black even, but blue would make sense to me. Like Ancestral and Foretold. Maybe Simeon, maybe not. Mana base would need to be completely revamped. And then Living Ends. I don't know how many Living End you would want. Maybe you would want 3. Because you want to see it, but I don't know if you want to get overloaded on it. And then you could play As Foretold. And then the Kiki-Jiki combo. And maybe not the full suite of As Foretold either, you know. Does this need a target? This does need a target, so that's kind of the issue with the card. So actually As Foretold would still be better than the Kari Zevs. But if you just wanted more copies of Enablers, maybe you'd play like 3 of that, or 2 even. Something like this. It's kind of awkward though with Living End, right? So you gain control of something and then you're just going to put everything in the graveyard anyway. But if we wanted more like 10 Enablers, that might be nice to have. 10 Enablers for 11 things that need to be cheated out. And then you're looking at Kiki-Jikis. You probably have 3 Kiki-Jikis. Maybe not 4. Well, actually maybe you do want the full suite. Like Faithless Lootings, of course. Faithless Looting, not just because we're a Wheel of Fate deck, but because we do need to get the pieces into the graveyard. And then some combination of Pestermites and just trying to go with the OG. But does this make sense? I mean, this would be a pretty straightforward concept. Pestermite. Deceiver Exarch. And maybe you do a split of those. Bolt's been coming back in a pretty major way. Granted, they can just bolt the Kiki-Jiki though, so it's kind of moot. And this deck could even consider Jace. We're still looking for an opponent, by the way. It's been 12 minutes. I don't know if we're gonna get an opponent for Pauper, but it's always fun to brew with you guys for a little bit. I can't spell Exarch tonight. Deceiver Exarch. But I think this is a cool concept. I don't know how competitive it would be, but definitely interesting. I don't know what split you want to do of these pieces of the combo. And then do you want to be a Thought Scour deck? Do you want to be... I mean, obviously we need to figure out a mana base for this thing. So what's nice is it doesn't necessarily need black. Like, is arguably the better enablers for, you know, casting some of this nutty stuff is Dominance and Foretold. Are, like, Dominance because you can do it during your opponent's turn, obviously, and it's only 2 mana. Foretold because you can do it repeated times. And then, of course, Karzev's just as extra enablers, I think, is nice. But maybe not necessary. And then you have to decide, do you want the mana base to be made up of some number of simians? Do we want to go like full blown, hey, we're degenerate? And the mana base could be, you could be a Blood Moon deck. You really could be some like the rest of the cards could be kind of Blue Moon-esque. 4 Kikis? You crazy, man. You crazy. But we want to see the combo. Like a Braid. Like Anger. Relic could stay. Maybe no, we don't want Relic. I don't know what kind of graveyard hate you'd want. You could play, like, everybody's like these days jamming ley lines in their sideboards, even if they're not black. You crazy, man. That's how I imagine you're saying that. But you can do like Izzet Charms. You can do Jace Vryn's Prodigy even. Jace plus Foretold plus Ancestral is a bit of a wombo. You can actually give the Ancestral flashbacks. That's kind of cool. So like maybe some Izzet Charm. So these are 3 drops. These are all being cheated, so we can put them in a zeros pile. 1s, 2s, 3s, sideboard cards, 3s. I mean, it kind of helps me when I look at the curvature of the deck to kind of figure out where everything should be. Yeah. Actually, no, we'll suspend Ancestral from time to time. I actually could also see us suspending the wheel. We'll curve them. We'll put them in the curve. But Living End, no. And, like, we could even play some number of Talaria West if we're really worried about finding the Living End. Like, each copy of Talaria West is just a more expensive, a more expensive copy of Living End. So you could run, like, maybe 1 or 2. Yeah, if you want to go more into tempo, you play more Pestermites. If you just want to make sure that we have the combo. I mean, I think a 7-4 split or a 6-4 split is fine. So maybe something like this. Or even, 5-4 might be correct. I'm not sure. 5-4 split, 10 enablers for that many. And then, I mean, even here we don't have enough unless you want to consider, like 21 lands and simians. Maybe you get away with it. But it'd be pretty straightforward, the deck. Honestly, I think you need another discard outlet. What are your Living Ends for? Just a Wrath? The Living Ends are to put Deceiver Exarch and Kiki Jiki into play at the same time. Need another discard outlet. So what, like Jace's? Well, don't forget, Wheel of Fate is a discard outlet. So, like, we have Wheel of Fate, Looting, and if we can squeeze a couple copies in, Izzet Charm. I mean, the second Izzet Charm might be even better than the first Karzev's Expertise. The second Izzet Charm might still be better than the... Because you want to be able to kill, like, Meddling Mage, you know? So, beyond... Like, the Dominances can do it. They can kill the Meddling Mage, but that's 4 mana. Whereas Izzet Charm is just a 2 mana answer to the Meddling Mage. Why don't you play some baby Jaces? I do like Jace Vryn's Prodigy. I just don't know if we have room for it. Like, then we'd have to start cutting on the combo itself. Then, like, if you want to add some Jaces, then you're talking about cutting, like doing this, maybe. Again, since we're, like, focused on the combo, I think Exarch Kiki is more where we want to be because we just want to be like flash this in and block something and then play Kiki the next turn off of a Simian Spirit Guide. But I mean, with wheel, you're just going through the deck. I mean, you know, like it shouldn't be too difficult with a wheel to hit the combo, even if we cut a Kiki per se. So some sort of like blue-red living Kiki. And then I don't know how the heck you want to sideboard this thing. Again, the advantage of having the Pestermites in the 75 is you can go like tempo mode. Do you think, as we're told, maybe a little too in on the combo, maybe a couple of bolts or snaps, or unless you want straight combo? I'd rather be straight combo, but like sideboard, we could like switch up into a different strategy. Like, for example, even the turns deck was sideboarding into Thing in the Ices. Maybe these Spell Pierces would be worth it after all. Oh, here we go, Tarns. Some Sulfur Falls. I don't know if I want as many as we had in the other deck. But yeah, we want some of that mana base back. Bluffs is good when you're playing Kiki Jiki. So yeah, a lot of that mana base I guess we do want. But it is nice to have a blue Pyroplasm. We're still looking for an opponent. I don't know if we're ever going to get an opponent this late at night. It's been 20 minutes, guys. I am keeping an eye on that, though. I mean, post-board, what do you want to be doing? Thing in the Ice? Keranos? I mean, what are you thinking? What if we could Living End Keranos into play? That'd be sweet. What happened to the Thing in the Ices now? They're here. These are all sideboard cards, at best. Yeah, I mean, Jace is sweet because of the way that it works with As Foretold. Like, this is a bit of a wombo. Gives us another discard outlet. Obviously, he'll eat a removal spell, but... Well, but we're in a league, though. Don't think it'll work. People, yeah. And that's kind of what was going on with, well, what was going on with the turns deck is it just we weren't getting what we needed every time, and the matchups were kind of a little bit too quick. There is a lot of graveyard hate right now. So, right. So what we would have to be able to do is full-blown transformational sideboard in theory, right? We'd have to, let me just cut these, just make it more manageable. Maybe we leave the Jaces, though. But, so we'd have to somehow transformational sideboard. Something to think about. We are a big blue-red deck. Like, we could even squeeze the... oh, we have an opponent. The Breach combo is relatively small amount of slots. Oh, I do kind of like using the Emrakul one. Just to prove a point. The Through the Breach package is not that much of your sideboard, because it's typically you're looking at, and then instead of playing Simian Spirit Guides, we play Desperate Rituals because they have Splice. But let's talk Pauper. I at least want to play one game with the Pauper deck. Ooh, so it has the combo already in hand. I don't think I just slammed Tireless Tribe though, right? An opponent has finally approached. How exciting. Pretty sure we just preordained, right? Like we're looking for Gush, we're looking for Dispel, but we need another blue source. We also have no idea what we're up against, so well, could be a couple different decks. I think I'm okay playing Tribe though, now that we know that it's potentially a Scred deck. A lot of different ways I could protect him. It's fine. Yeah, so he's playing blue-red Delver. It's a pretty popular deck, so no surprise there. Now, would it be greedy for me to end step Brainstorm? Maybe, maybe not. So there's a Bolt. Maybe, maybe not. Just because I don't really want us to get Brainstorm locked, but there's Rift. Patience. It is hard to kill Tireless Tribe with Bolt. Do need to just draw cards. I'll cycle an Inside Out. Another island is welcome. Let's play the Evo Wilds though, so we can perfect Brainstorm now. So what we need to be able to do, we need to be able to Shadow Rift and Inside Out in the same turn. We also need to be able to fight my opponent's Bolt so they can't take out the tribe. We need to be able to swing through the Augur. There's a lot we need to be able to do in a turn. Let's Brainstorm. Barrens, no thanks. We do need another land drop though. We shouldn't need double Shadow Rift. So there's Gush. We could go for it now. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry, we're gonna use the Gush obviously to pull this off. Like the only reason I think we can go for it this turn is the Gush. Let's use the Inside Out to pay for the colorless cost on another Gush. Oh, we don't have enough land to do it. I mean, this should denote to the opponent that I'm going for it, but I don't think he's going to be able to stop us. We have so very many counterspells. Rift so he can't block. Spell Stutter. Oh, actually I can't dispel that. That's clutch. We may have to cobble together the combo again. So I cannot dispel a Spell Stutter Sprite. I could Brainstorm to try to find a Daze, which we should do. I did not find it. Unfortunate. Now if we had Circular Logic there instead of Dispel, we would have won this. Counter War. But that's okay, we also found an additional tribe. So that's kind of the cool thing about this deck, is it has a lot of redundancy. So I think we are going to be able... Let's put back 2 islands. We should... Well, we'll have to find another Inside Out. So we'll have to find Inside Out. I should have attacked there, right? I don't think so. He just blocks. That's unfortunate. I wasn't thinking of Sprite. Let's dump. Feels weird dumping anything other than island there, especially since we know we have 2 islands coming up. Shouldn't you Inside Out after pump? So what's interesting about Inside Out is it says until end of turn, so you can actually do it afterwards. We did play this deck. Oh my gosh, it had to be been a year ago, but that's how we learned that. learn it? We did. No, the spell stutter was unfortunate. I was thinking if he could interact, we should be fine, but the spell stutter was the perfect card to have in that situation. We could have waited, I suppose. It wasn't like he had a huge clock on us. So he's gonna ninja. Ninja is sweet with spell stutter. So the problem about trying to go for it again here is I'm missing too many pieces of the wombo, of the combo, so to speak. So it might be better just to go tribe, preordain to not draw these. Ponder. I probably should take these preordains, right? Oh, I totally stacked that wrong, though. I didn't want to draw the island. Whoops. That's okay. I can't just let him keep attacking with ninja. Oh, this is bad, chat. Don't worry. Like, my mistake there is definitely going to hurt us a lot. So preordain. Wants to spell stutter my preordain. Now I could have logicked that. I don't think I'm supposed to though, but maybe. Oh gosh, he has another ninja. Come on. Nah, we're not gonna win this one, chat. That's okay. Another reason to not fight there is we knew the next card was a preordain as well. I don't think I'm supposed to deny the gushes though. Oh, let's see what we're up against. Alright, that's a pretty good hand, isn't it? Counterspell, counterspell, gush, bolt, ponder, scred, sprite. Yeah. As I would expect. Oh, I'm really regretting earlier just thinking I needed to cycle the inside out to find the Shadow Rift. Because we found the Shadow Rift soon after we cycled an inside out. I shouldn't do that against, an opponent with plenty of counter magic. Don't think we're going to get this one, which is sad because we waited so long, or at least this game one. We waited so long for this match to just get stomped. Be careful, he's got spell stutters. Yeah, I know he's got the spell stutter. We have to find both pieces of the combo. There's the Shadow Rift. Yes, Gush is very awkward when you're not comboing and you're just trying to draw through the deck. It is very awkward. We're going to shuffle. These are not the things that we were looking for, chat. I hate to just discard lands here. And the reason being is, I mean, opponent's drawing 2 cards a turn. Actually, I probably should have even considered. I don't know. Like, yeah. I don't think we're going to be able to get there, chat. There's 2 inside outs left. We have to find one. We also have to make enough land drops that he'll have a disruptive enough hand by the time we finally get there. We're spinning our wheels. And I don't want you guys to sit here with a game that we're gonna lose anyway. So the way that they suggest boarding for this, I believe, is some combination of cry. No, I'm kidding. They do interact quite nicely with us, unfortunately. This is one of the matchups we don't really want to see. I think Drowse is where you want to be for this matchup. Just tap them all out the turn before we go for it. I shouldn't complain and say that it's a bad matchup. I don't think it's a bad matchup per se. But it definitely shouldn't have just popped off the inside outs. I mean, we had the win there if I'd just been a little more patient, I think. I don't think we really want to over sideboard. I think we just want the Giga Drowse, maybe a cut of foil. Just keep it very simple. Sand is a mulligan. Sand is a keep. It's got 1/3 of the combo. I think a second land's fine. So there's the whole combo and the white source that we need. We'll take it with the intent of shuffling away the other 2. And then we just need to find our way to our guy. Power Blast. Oof, that's unfortunate. They always seem to have the ninja, don't they? Don't they, chat? Always seem to have it. Oh boy. Well, an aggressive brainstorm on my part was not rewarded. I mean, we have the whole combo, but we don't actually have enough land to pull it off, right? Because we know he's got Power Blast. So we have to be able to dispel and, well, actually, foil. Wait a minute. Is this where the foil is potentially sweet? So we know we have to fight over the Power Blast. I mean, it's just a matter of how much interaction I have to fight over. Oh, he's going for the Augur. And Gush also gives me another land drop potential. Oh, shoot. Oh, it's an Evolving Wilds. Hang on, we might be able to go for this. Let's math this out. This is our spot, right? So, blue. Gush. So now we have the island part of foil. I can replay an island. We should be able to win now, right? So there's the Power Blast. Well, actually, we had everything we needed anyway. We don't have to foil, right? Dispel will work just fine. Rift. And that's a full grip, so that's going to be lethal. Don't really want to show him the Dizzy Spell or the foil. So could we have foiled and still killed him? The answer is no. We would have needed one more card. So maybe we shouldn't be testing it in this matchup. But I don't see anything else that I want instead, you know? I mean, maybe the Apostle's Blessing, just to be able to swing through, would be maybe better than the foil. Just to make sure we always have the ability to clock them. This hand is awkward. I don't think we throw it away, though. Gonna need to find our way to white source. It's got the whole combo rolled up. We just need to find, ideally, like a Gush. That was sweet, though. I mean, the Tireless Tribe is solid against these burn-based decks. It's hard for them to remove him. So there's a Brainstorm. I don't think I would end step Brainstorm, though. That seems very aggressive, considering I still need white source to do anything. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to get these circular logics turned on, so... Well, I think we are going to Brainstorm. I hope we don't get Brainstorm locked. We did not, because we are lucky, always lucky. Very, very lucky. When in doubt, lucky. Power Blast. Well, we were able to beat a Power Blast last time. So, what are we missing now? We need just a density of cards, really. We have the full combo rolled up. I mean, we may just need to wait for him to deploy another threat. tap some mana. We got the whole combo rolled up. We just need to kind of be able to go for it. Hey, what's up, Loaf? Delver of Secrets. Gosh, this guy's like tapping out a lot. It's not Brainstorm yet. There's a Dizzy spell. Okay, let's Brainstorm. I mean, if we hit like Gush here, we can go for it. Alright, Augur, Counterspell, Fairy Miscreant, Pyroblast, Stutter Sprite. Okay. Actually, I shouldn't have played that land, should I? Because we had enough mana next turn to Inside and Shadow and counter. I think we should have held the land. Like, we really need like a Gush now. Flipped a Counterspell, okay. So opponent's going to be looking to just sit back on their hand now, I imagine. Oh, plays a Miscreant, so his hand... So he can do Spell Stutter, Pyro, or Counterspell Pyro. Now, don't forget, when and if we go for it, chat. And that's an if. Oh, okay, so we've got access to Inside, Rift, and Logic. We would need both counter spells. I think we wait. Like, until he's threatening lethal, I don't think we go for it. Because best case scenario, he's only going to have 2 pieces of interaction. If he keeps making land drops, he'll have more pieces of interaction, but he's not putting us dead. Not yet, anyway. Another Dispel. Problem is now he has Counterspell Sprite, Counterspell, Pyroblast, so now it's a little bit more than we can maybe deal with. Just looking for that Gush, really. Probe Rift. Oh, don't worry, I'm not going to let him add to the clock. Trust me. And that's actually really sweet that he did that for us because we didn't have to discard a card to hand size. Doesn't put me dead. I don't know why he's not swinging the aggro balls, because I'd have to discard a card. Alright, this is our turn to maybe go for it. I think we lost this match, but that's okay. Opponent's draw is pretty sweet. I'm not all that mad about it. And it's a fun deck to play regardless. Like, even when you lose with it, it's a lot of fun. I don't think I'm going to wait around for another match, though, because it took so very long for us to find this one. Like, it'll have to be, like, a perfect... I don't know, like, this has to hit Gush. Nah, that's not good enough. Ash Barrens is not good enough. Like, we'd have to hit Gush there. I think the problem with the deck, even pre-foil being out, is that the deck's so very reliant on Gush. If only we had a way to tutor for that card, right? Anyway, so somebody was saying, like, there's a lot of graveyard hate. That's not going to affect us games 2 and 3. So I don't think the idea of the notion of playing like a Breach sideboard plan is even crazy. Like, I think you definitely want to be like a Blood Moon deck potentially, but maybe instead of like Thinging the Ices and Jaces, we just Breach them. Post board. I wonder what you guys think about that. Like, game 1, you yeah. Maybe something like this, 15. 2 sweepers, 2 counterspells. And maybe you don't want Spell Pierce, maybe you want Dispel instead, since we're growing a lot bigger. Instead of trying to stay small, maybe this would be a Dispel deck. 2 Braids. Yeah, that seems fine. Something like this, perhaps. And then once they're ready for the graveyard side of the deck, right, the living end side of the deck, maybe what we do is we take out a lot of this and the living ends. And you put this in. And granted, like, you could even consider a Black Splash instead of the Blood Moons, and then you're looking at some number of Goryo's Vengeance, because Goryo's Vengeance would work with both the Emrakul's post board and the Kiki-Jikis and the Jaces. So you could maybe, you know, I don't know exactly what that would look like. That would probably mean no Kari-Zev expertise at all. And then like a light Black Splash. So basically you'd give up, there are some pretty ones we could play. So you give up the, yeah, and then you play like 3 of those. So then we'd have to reconstruct the main board. What would that look like? Sorry, we're kind of going backwards and forwards on this idea. 64, but these are sideboard. What's the sideboard look like? 13? 57? Okay. Could do it. But then you give up the possibility of Blood Moon, but maybe that's not such a big deal. I wouldn't play 4 Goryos, because we only have 3 Kikis and only 3 Emrakul after board. I don't think I'd mainboard the Emrakul because the Wheel of Fate. But once you take out the Wheel of Fate, I think it's fine. I mean, technically, we still have control over what we're discarding, right? But not really. Like, Jace is a Charm and Faithless Looting give us perfect control. Like, whereas Wheel of Fate is, if the Emrakul is in your hand and you're dumping it, so like probably if we bring in the Breach package and we take out the, well, granted these are still hit by the Graveyard Hate though, guys. So it's hard to say. But I am okay with Goryo's if we have this many targets, right? Like two or three Goryo's Vengeances I'm fine with as long as we have enough tutor targets. So like 3 Living Ends and 2 Vengeances. Maybe that's fine. I mean, think of it this way. Just because we're reshuffling the deck doesn't mean that's all bad post board. Like that's something else to think about is what's the big whoop, what's the big deal if we're Wheel of Fating post board if we're not trying to go through the graveyard anyway, right? So that's something else to think about. Like if our intention is not to go through the graveyard in the first place. Just post board, you're right. I think I can't remember exactly who said it in the chat. I know one of you were saying, BrewSpy, be careful. There's a lot of graveyard hate right now, so we do need to have other avenues post board. And I agree. I definitely agree with that. So we have 4 slots we bought ourselves. Oh well, we need a lot more lands. That's what's going on. We would need to make the black splash happen. So it'd probably be. It looks like we're going more Grixis-y style. Definitely at least one basic swamp. I mean, if we're gonna run a black splash, I definitely want more than just 2 or 3 black cards. Like the other sideboard cards probably should be black. Like maybe we'd even play some Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize main board can pitch Kiki or Emrakul, and then you can Vengeance with it. So Thoughtseize is a real reason to do a light black splash. So like between the sideboard and the main, maybe we play 2-3 copies of Thoughtseize. The only issue there being is you need double black to pull that off. Actually, I still kind of like the idea of Cascade Bluffs. I can see Thoughtseize being sweet. Or maybe you main board 2 Thoughtseize and then post board you're playing 2 Collective Brutality. Because the funny thing about a lot of these styles of decks is they have can have such a poor burn matchup. So maybe this is a nice consolation prize. We get to bring in 2 Dispels and 2 Brutality against burn with a light black splash. I mean, with our mana being stretched in the direction of triple red, double red, I'm not looking for the mana base to be anything other than singular blue, singular black, and then triple red is where the mana base wants to be. So we'd have to retool, obviously, the mana. Maybe play Bloodstains and Scalding Tarns. Maybe that's what the mana looks like. And I wouldn't want to play fast mana just because we will have to cast through the breaches and Kiki-Jikis from time to time. We should be playing a Desolate Lighthouse, though. I think Loot House is a good idea. Actually, instead of Simian Spirit Guides, I'd rather play... I think I said it earlier in the chat. I think I said I would rather play Desperate Rituals as part of the mana base. And the reason being is because of the Splice factor. Because we're thinking about it through the Breach sideboard plan. This guy has Splice on it. So against opposing counterspell decks, you know, like 3 or 4 Rituals, part of the mana base. So we're looking at mana-wise. Still need a lot more land than that. This is difficult. Maybe 3-3 split is correct. 4 more lands. I think double Steam Vents is still right though, because blue and our primary colors are definitely blue, blue-red. So maybe Blood Crypt, Watery, toss those in there. 2 more lands. Dragon Skull? Well, no, because Thoughtseize and Brutality are pretty early game. Could play some Tar Pits. Oh no, Tar Pit doesn't make sense with Kiki-Jiki. Such an awkward card you are, my friend. I mean, the play of like Thoughtseize ourself or looting into Goryo's Vengeance, those are all black-red plays. Maybe we're supposed to be playing the black red filter, so if we draw too much of our blue mana, we can filter into red black to make that play happen, or just a bunch of red mana. So that would be, what is that, Graven? That's Cairns. Graven Cairns. Interestingly enough. I do like that it has that old art though, that's kind of fun. It is up here. Actually, it's a 4 mana play. We can just stick it over there. Rituals. Oh yeah, we were gonna have a Talaria West. That's right. It's sneaking over. It's kind of sneaked over here. That would be the only reason to have multiple blue sources. Really in the deck. 2 or more blue to be able to transmute this guy. And then if you want to get like really, I'm trying to think what else we would want mana wise. We got 4 shock lands, right? Sulphur Falls, a filter land, 3 basics, some technology lands. Eight fetches. That's a lot of fetches, actually. No, I think that's close. I don't know if I'd want to play a Polluted Delta, too. I mean, maybe even an additional mountain, just so that playing Kiki-Jiki doesn't hurt us so bad in the late game, necessarily. It'd be weird to have second mountain. That's a concern I have, like playing through the Breach or Kiki-Jiki late game. The second basic. I mean, you can even consider maybe Field of Ruin at that point, but I don't think that's the kind of game this deck's trying to play. Maybe we would consider the second mountain. So perhaps something like this might be a first draft of the deck. So game 1, we're trying to Kiki combo. Post board, we're trying to just Breach. And I know a lot of you in chat would be saying or thinking to yourselves, well, BrewSpy, with this first draft of the deck, why don't you just Breach them game 1 and then sideboard into the Kiki combo? I think the reason there would be we want to leverage the reanimation game 1. So I think I'm fine with 2 copies of Vengeance, considering we've got 2 Jaces and 3 Kiki-Jikis. I think we can justify it. And again, maybe that's not enough Deceiver X Archers. Maybe I am supposed to be on 4. Maybe I'm supposed to be on a split of that and Pestermite. Again, I'm not sure. But this is an interesting concept for sure. I mean, I'd love to get away from running that many Living Ends. I'd rather just be on 2 copies and rely a little bit more on the Talaria West. Because West is also, copies of Wheel of Fate. It's also Ancestrals. And then that gives us a 21st land. So maybe that's what we do. 21 lands and then 4 rituals. So our mana looks a little bit more like this. We've got 25 slots devoted to mana. But with our top end, like our big finishers of Through the Breach and Kiki-Jiki both being red, I think that's fine. So yes, this is a pile, but it's a beautiful pile. It is a wonderful, wondrous pile. Give it a try at your local F&M if you already have the cards for it. If you don't have the cards for this yet, I'm not going to try to recommend it to anyone because this is very much a prototype. We just threw this together just now, and this is just roughly based on what Lil Corn was telling me, that he saw somebody jamming some sort of Electro Dominance Living In Kiki combo, which I think is sweet. I'll screenshot this and maybe we'll play this at a later date. But I don't want to wait in the queue for another game of Pauper just to last, And I'm pretty exhausted, guys, so I'm going to find us another stream. As always, thank you so much for coming to the BrewSpytheMagicGuy show. If you haven't hit that follow button, please do, because then you'll know when I go live. My schedule's a little sporadic right now just due to work. So let's find another streamer. Do you guys have any recommendations? We found a really cool streamer last time. We found... what is his name? I'm trying to think of his username. Demi Eyes. There we go. Got there. Demi Eyes was playing a really, really cool Waste Not combo. So definitely stay. I like to think that between myself and you guys, we do a good job finding another stream to send you to. The way that I got my start on streaming Magic the Gathering on Twitch was through generous hosts from others. So please, please, if you're not doing anything else tonight, stick around. I'd like to send you to one of my others on the team. Evan is streaming, and he's playing something pretty cool, I would assume. He's playing some Electro Dragons in Modern. I'll send you to Evan. I'll see you guys in the next Brew Spy the Magic Guy. Thanks for coming tonight, guys. I really appreciate it. And go say hi to my teammate. Give him a little bit of Brew Spy love. I'll see ya. Goodbye now. Bye. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.